arguably probably the game of the round. It's a preliminary final rematch, Broncos vs Panthers, Friday, 8 p.m. at Suncorp. I think we've got to go straight to the Kings of Rocks and Diamonds, but more so diamonds in more recent memory. It's my boy, Reece Walsh. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, he's in my. I'm just gonna talk about. I'm just revealing my whole team, aren't I? Yeah, he's in my team for sure. Like, look, can he repeat last year's purple patch? I wasn't sure, but again, I saw him, in that World Club Challenge, and he did, he really didn't do too much, and he's racked up like 100 Supercoach points, and so, at any point when Adam Reynolds goes down, he's going to pick up the goal kicking as well. That could be at any point. So, I also, the Broncos draw was slightly hard at, the first 3 games. And I think a lot of people are off him a bit, but the moment it goes into round 4, it becomes Finns, Gold Coast, and the Cowboys. So everybody's going to have to get him in round 4 anyways. I thought, why bother? I'm just going to save a trade.
Yeah.
And if he goes big against Panthers, as you can see, he can go big against anybody. That's, it's the finals, the top 8 teams. He can do anything he wants. Yeah. So he's in my team for sure. And I think about players who I would like not to get burnt with this year. Herbie's the first one, and Reece is second. So therefore, they're both in my team this year. and I would actually say, for people who want to keep their hair on their head, and they want to keep the game, as least stressful as possible, that is the way I'd play the game. Which players would make you most upset if you didn't own them, and just own them?
I like that mantra. That sounds pretty good. And I agree, because my hairline's ever so slightly receding, and I don't need any more stress with Reece Walsh not being in my team. So Reece Walsh, the GOAT, he's in. He's just got the most attacking upside in the entire comp. And again, as you mentioned with that World Club Challenge, did pretty much absolutely nothing on the eye test. But then when I went through the highlights, he was everywhere. And he had Ben Hunt, and he had Adam Reynolds in that team. So that's definitely worthy to note. I think he's by far the most upside. If he loses 100K, 2 weeks later, he could be up 200,000. So save the trade. If he's injured, he's injured. But at this stage, lock and load for sure. Another guy I want to talk about is Shibasaki. I had him for a very long time on my team. I ended up opting with Stephen Crichton due to the fact that I know Crichton was going to have the goal kicking. That sort of put me over the line between those two. Shibasaki in that left-hand edge with Walshy sweeping, Ezra Mann giving the short ball, and Karapani on the outside is a fantastic ball runner finisher. Yeah, it was very hard to leave him out. Juicy at 630K. Again, you got the new center update with the try assist as well. I thought that was pretty good. Any love for Shiba?
Yeah, I think he's a great hedge, especially if you're not going to start with any Broncos players other than Payne Haas. It is a difficult draw once again. It is Penrith, Para, and Melbourne. And they all could be low-scoring affairs. So you have to be prepared for, maybe some downer scores. But I mean, again, he runs into the same fixtures as Reece Walsh. It becomes Finns, Gold Coast, and Cowboys. So look, if you start with him again, you just pray that he does really well in the first 3. It's just the bonus, and then it looks real juicy. If you can hold just those first 3 rounds, really. Yeah. And I don't begrudge anybody. I think he suffers from the same kind of syndrome. Is probably the wrong word, but it's the people that you bought really on the cheap for last year. Him, Tamale, and all of a sudden these guys are now 500, 600, and you're going, I don't want to pay for these guys. They should be 200. They're overpriced and stuff like that. But I wouldn't be surprised if Shiva came out at an absolute, especially with the base, if he, he's a better player than last year. He's an Origin center. Why are we not starting with this guy in many ways? Yeah.
He's a gun. And again, the offensive juggernaut that the Broncos is, renowned for running down points. Shibasaki almost got a hat trick in that World Club Challenge, keeping that form. The goatee's back, just to confirm that for you, Chris, just in case you didn't think the superpower was still not there. Yeah, the goatee is still there for the GOAT Shibasaki. So 2 boys in the forward pack we definitely need to talk about. One is Payne Haas. I'm surprised he's not 101% owned. Thoughts on Payne Haas?
Just get him. Get him. He's probably he's close as must have. That's all I have to say.
He is a must have. I don't care. Put him as $1 million. I think he's a must have. He's a captaincy option this week as well. He's just going to be racking up base. Corey Jensen went down in the first 90 seconds. He played 80 minutes. So 80 minutes at 2 degrees on his Kentucky tour in Europe. Enough said. That's just absolute dog. So save the trade. He's hold all year. I wouldn't even bother trading him out during Origin time. Just, yeah, save the trade.
So if you had to either captain or VC Payne Haas or Reece Walsh, because you only can choose one of them, who would you pick for this round?
For Panthers, Payne Haas, that's the only reason. Only Payne Haas for every round, but Panthers. So Panthers and Dogs, every other game, I would say Reece Walsh. Yeah, they're just too good defensively. I'm not saying that Reece Walsh can't get 150. I just think it's safer, particularly now with the third man in tackling. I think Payne Haas plays big minutes in these types of games because they're the teams that will be roughly around the same position, and the Broncos need to win those games. Those teams where the fullbacks aren't as good, Payne Haas probably gets more time to rest.
Yeah. Who's the other guy you want to talk about?
Yeah. Oh, Paddy Carrigan, mate. Dual position, $630K. He's been in and out of my team. He's been the Hopgood 2.0 for $120,000 more. Patrick Carrigan doesn't have that attacking upside in regards to scoring tries, but certainly can do an offload, certainly get a try contribution, always there for big minutes, minimum 65 minutes, can definitely play 80 minutes, winning team. He's just got that dog in him. Paddy Carrigan is their love.
Yeah, with the stats changes, anybody who's a hard-working front row, second row hooker, and is undervalued, I will not begrudge you for getting them in. And Paddy's at $636K, and I think he's going to average 73, something like that. So that means he's 100,000 undervalued at the moment. Yeah, pick him in. It'll be boring. Boring as, it's going to be like Isaiah Yo. You're just literally picking someone just for meat and potatoes, as they call it. But, it gets you points, and at the beginning of the season, I can see worse strategy than stacking the pack with guys that you just know will score you 70 every week.
Yeah. Particularly at the start of the year, the volatility. We don't know how the centre position with the try assist is going to sort of even out, getting that sample size for at least the first couple of rounds so we can sort of see what it looks like. Definitely a good idea. Paddy Carrigan, mate, when you go look at my team, I've got 4 guys in mind, and he's definitely one of them. So it'll be interesting to hear your final verdict when we get to the team preview. I think the Broncos is pretty much done. Panthers. Couple of guys here of interest. Again, we talk about the centre position, getting that new potential bump. And guys like Isaac Targo definitely gets those extended try assists. Casey McGluhan's doesn't really, but he's an absolute gun running the ball. And obviously Brian To'o, pretty underpriced, all things considering. He's moved next to Casey McLean on the left-hand side. Obviously Nathan Cleary dodged that band. You just go hard on Cleary early. Very tough draw for the Penrith Panthers to start the year. I'm hoping he drops some price. And then Isaiah Yo, obviously with the new rule change, very similar to Patrick Carrigan, plays 70 to 80 minutes every single week. Absolute tackle bot, captain for the Panthers. He's always going to make points. 4 to 5 guys there. Chris, what are your thoughts on them?
Yeah, I'm just going to give very, very brief thoughts on it. Isaac Tungo, again, I think one of the most undervalued players with the new stats changes. I think he was owed something like 4 or 5 try assists. At some point, I remember like 2 years ago, he was like 730K. Now he's like 400 or 500. Like
501.
Surely and he was 2 years ago, he was one of the most promising centers. Young centers. So at some point he has to come good. Again, I wouldn't begrudge anybody from doing that. Yeah, Casey McLean. I don't mind if he's Casey McLean or Casey McGluhan's now with the new stats changes. You can do both. Yeah, just as long as he has the ball involved. Yeah, I don't think I would go either of them. I'd only go Isaac Tungo if you're trying to find somebody for 500K. You're trying to squeeze somebody in. Casey McLean, I think he's just a bit too expensive at the moment. There are better, for example, Shibasaki is a way better draw, and Latrell Mitchell, Stephen Crichton, all these players with better draws and, with other benefits as well. Casey McLean, you can pick him up when he's dropped in price a little bit, in round 7 or so, or later on. He's probably not going to play Origin either. Same thing as Brian To'o. He's not many people have him actually, but he's also like, is he about 500K as well?
Yeah,
you can pick him up if you want. Oh, sorry, 600 then. He really is 600. He's not 500. If you're looking for somebody who's 600, but you could also go for Selvin Cobbo for someone for 540 instead. And, and his upside, being on that left side for the Finns. But again, don't begrudge anybody. Nathan Cleary, I'm not starting with him. only because I agree. I think the draw is too hard. But I had a look at some of his stats. So, for example, he's starting off, Broncos, Sharks, Roosters. Let me just try to get this out. Check this out. For example, against the Broncos, the Broncos are his bunny team. He scored 129, 121, 53, 125, 151, 125, and that dates back to 2021.
Wow.
It's not a hard team for them to play again. He likes playing them. The Sharkies, 68, 109, 69, 107, and then it's 139 back in 2019 as well. So that's also not a hard team to play at all. And then they're playing, who's their third team? Is it Manly?
I couldn't tell you top of my head, to be honest.
I just said it just then. I forgot. Let me see. It was Roosters. Oh yeah, he's also very good against the Roosters. Check out these numbers. 80, 116, 82, 84, 82, 140. So he could be averaging like 90 after the first 3 rounds, and we're going, this is ridiculous.
And it's the first time in several off seasons that the Panthers have actually got stability. Like, I don't think they really lost anyone at all. And Cleary's finally had an off season. He is actually finally healthy.
Yep.
I'm scared now. Like, I can't really kill my team for it, but
that's the thing. I think there are so many must-haves you have to have. Herbie, Payne, Haas. If you got Reese, you really can't, unfortunately, just can't afford Cleary. So, I'm going to fade him. It worked well for people who faded last year or the last 2 years, despite everything. So, see what happens. And, as long as you have somebody, expensive in your flex, you can always move up to him or trade to him, and yeah, we kind of go from there. Who else do we have to talk about? Oh, yes, Isaiah Yeo. Yeah, he's in my team. Yeah, he's literally just Paddy Carrigan. Take your pick one of them or pick both of them. Just undervalued. You're just going to make free. It's just free cash. It's just increase that free salary cap for you. Yeah. The one that I thought was super interesting, actually. If you have Isaiah Papali'i, he was possibly a really good pick because he's dual forwards and, he's only 500 or something like that, 550, and they were hoping that, he'd take Scott Sorensen's left edge position. Unfortunately, he's on the bench. So if you have Papali'i, you probably get him out of your team and wait for him to actually start before you bring him back in.
Also, worthy to note, Kalani Going got that jersey 17. Bit of an AE nightmare potentially for the guys who've gone off Brandon Smith to look for that downgrade position. I'm pretty sure Adam had him in at one stage for that Nuff, but he changed to Reed Marnie, I believe, top of my head. So, yeah, if you got Kalani Going, I'd be definitely getting him out for an AE. Don't want that. Milky Jenkins on the extended bench too, which is interesting.